Hey everybody. Well, when I say everybody, it's not that many people yet. Let's see, I was just about to go check something. Crap, can't remember what. Oh well, too late. Just have to continue on. Hey Gavin Brown, what is very hot England? I mean, really, what is that, 22, 23 Celsius? What do you define as very hot in England? Hey Mark, Jim, also Jim Allen, so the Jims, Enos, Daniel, Travis, of course, Byron, hey Byron, Burbas, Gavin, Joho, Andrew, 37, okay, I will concede that is getting up there in the unpleasant set area. Yep, you have my commiserations, is it? No, you have my empathy, perhaps. Yes. 37, yeah, it's a bit of a warm day. Certainly getting to the 40s, it's a bit like here. Alright, anyway, I got this 3330 that I can't seem to make head or tail of. It's going to be one of those things that is stupidly simple or something. I get green light up for a little bit and then it just buggers off. And I suspect it's just doing an SMC reset and then it buggers off. Give it another 10 seconds and it'll probably disappear. That'll give me time to put this back. No, it's still there. Because the big problem with everybody in England with that sort of temperature is that you guys are not equipped to cope with that sort of temperature. You don't have the profound amount of air conditioning and power wastage that we do have here to deal with the excess heat by creating excess heat. Alright, well that's persisting. Anyway, I've got 12 milliamps and that's about it. Pay no attention to the Usbc meter on the side. That's just because I'm charging the FLIR camera at the moment. It's pretty much at the end of the charge state. B-Dog. The humidity makes it considerably worse, yes. Yeah. Anyway, I was fishing around. I'm finding I'm not actually getting Allsys Power Good, so I'm going to have to now work back from Allsys Power Good. Oh, where was I? I'm trying to think where the hell I was measuring that. Oh yeah, it's weird. I thought I was measuring it up there, but I can't be sure now. Huh. Just moving stuff around here. So, right. Hey, Rilla. Now, what I can't work... Okay, we've lost the green light now. So it does fade out, it seems. Yeah, there's some weirdness going on. It's like there's been rework done here. And that middle one is Allsys Power Good. So like if I probe that, you can see I already have. You get nothing. Even when the green light is on, we get nothing. And I actually don't know whether this is old work of mine. It doesn't quite look like it. It's also like half the board is ultrasonic, but then half the board is still crusty and old. Okay, that's secured pretty good. And there's this sort of damage here. It's like someone with a hot soldering iron or something is trying to be scraping away. And that resistor actually looks kind of effed up. That resistor's taken a few hits there. The other very strange thing, we'll just remember that it's there, is I had a resistor over here and it had a hole in it, but that's a 1K resistor and it's to do with the memory stuff. It had a hole in it, and it was still going, and it was still 1K. I just didn't know what to think of that. That was just kind of weird. Normally, when you get a hole in a resistor, typically because it's overheated, being too much current passing through it, they usually have a higher resistance. But this one had just still the same 1K. Are those cooling towers you wet with? Okay, they're cooler bar type things. We don't really use them anymore. Swamp coolers, that sort of thing. We've long since stopped doing that, mostly because a lot of the heat is also high humid. And of course, in high humidity, swamp coolers don't do squat. They just make life worse. I can see that that's been replaced. I'm pretty sure that's that's been replaced. Backlight. Yeah, so we've got this damage here. It's almost like, but this is sort of area you mess around with when you're trying to bypass this GPU. I'm just going to have a look at what that resistor there is, see if it gives us any indication. But it really doesn't seem to make sense. And there's the focuses. Kind of, maybe, possibly, outish. Now it's worse. That'll have to do. Let's see. Let's go schematics. So what's that smashed resistor? That's this one here. DisplayPort mux. Yeah, see, it's got nothing to do with the power. Alright, so we're not getting all sys power good. So we're going to have to go and find where we generate. That comes out of... U7960? What? Hey there, Jason. CPU, P good. Yeah, so we have all this power good going into the SMC, but this here is not really what you would consider to be a very useful diagram. So we're actually going to chase this one here. All this power good R. Oh wow, they're just using 100 ohm. Okay, that's a little bit different to the future ones. Very different. Yeah, classic models indeed. Okay, well, we're getting somewhere because I have vague recollections of doing this and shitty wiring there, which for some reason I didn't cover up. Anyway, it's a bit strange around here because there's some parts I know I would have done, and then there's other parts that make no sense at all to me. So I do seem to have a recollection of dealing with this area and sticking that resistor on an angle to get 3v3 through. $79.60. So if it's not there, but we do have Q7950. Ah, right. Okay. No, I understand. It is using the more recent systems. This one here. Yeah. Which is this chip here. Oh, what? I've ruptured. Can't take the risk. Jim, maybe you should have gone to sleep. It might end up being a better option. Now, some might say that that resistor there actually has a bit of a burn mark. That one there. I don't know. I'm getting paranoid here. But there's probe marks that don't make a lot of sense to me. Like that there is a probe mark that is not something that one of my probes would actually do. There's a few other ones around the place that are quite deep and cutting into the board, and they are not the sort that I do. So yeah, I don't know. I'm guessing that someone did try some things. I'm a little worried about the fact that there's all this flux around the PCH, and reflowing PCHs like that is not something I do. Anyone who's watched me long enough knows that I'm not a fan of that particular technique. Anyway, so maybe there's a problem here. I'm just going to have to trace some things out. I'm just glad at least that it is the more recent. You should have known it is a 3330 board after all. Anyway, I'm glad it is the more recent all-sys power grid system, so at least I can have a chance of chasing that and finding out what we're missing. Let's see. Multimeter is good. Ow! Something just cracked in my head, and I don't know what that was. Nothing there. Stuff all there. Stuff all there. Stuff all there. What we've got? Basically, we've got nothing. Oh, the only thing we've got is that one. Stuff all there. What about you? And sweet FA for you too. So this one here is the only one that has any power at all. That's kind of weird. Which one was that? Maybe it's not even getting into the state where it wants to turn off. Dry joint in my head, probably. Yeah. Yeah, okay, so the only thing we got was this. Yeah, I don't even know what SOPGC is. Okay, so that's 3v3. They just changed the name of it. Gotta love that. Okay, but this is weird. 3v3 S5 V1, 3v3, oh, 3v3 SO. So we're not actually even getting into an SO state. Or trying. So something else is inhibiting us. Well, let's have a look at U7930 and see if we're even getting S4 state. But it's all a bit peculiar. Honestly, I am feeling very out of my depth at the moment. Okay, I'm going to check 7940. It's up near the keyboard. Because almost everything I've been doing now is... Ooh, okay, 7940 might have some clues. There's a bit of craziness going on there. That would be that beast there. Yep. Yeah, and these are the probe marks I'm talking about. So like there, there, there. That's some serious scratching. And this here. Hey there, Piper Cessna. Alright, start looking for some signals around here. Okay, first thing we want to look for is, do we even have power going to it? Yes, we have power. Batlows, PM sleep, Sussel is 1 and 6. Okay, pin 1 is this here. Okay, so bat low. Okay, that makes sense that that's low. Pin 6 is just below it. It's this one here. And we've got that. Oh, Joseph, right, your account's been disabled. Oh, okay, well, that's no good. Alright, so we've got that power. We've got PM Sleep Sussel. Okay, so if we don't have that, that's an OR gate. That there is an AND gate, which will give us a 0 on the out no matter what. But it's a loop back, so 0 going back into there, 0. So pin 4, sus enable. Okay, so we don't have sus enable. SMC bat low, if low. So we should have a 100k pull-up, actually bringing that up. So according to this, so we've got SMC bat low, 100k pull-up on SMC page. So control right click. So here. 5040. Oh, right. 5040 is this resistor here. We definitely have that, and that was definitely. Ah. I'm getting confused. Like I said, this is it's fun when you got to try and get back into what. Okay, we're back down to 0 there. Okay, so we've got 3 volts there. But that's been pulled down. That there is being pulled down by something. Alright, the game's afoot. Oh, Jim. Okay, well, I hope you're getting some more pickup there on your channel. The numbers looking good. Judging by the fact that there's a cluster of damage around here, I'm not going to be surprised if. Yeah. So like the damage done to that probe, that point there, that's not something I want. This one here, see that? I'm getting paranoid now. I'm starting to see damage. No, it just can't be that. That's not seeing damage where there isn't damage. Alright, I gotta find out where this thing's getting pulled down. think what I'll do is I will... Dun, dun, dun. What will you do, Paul? I'll take this off and I'll see if it's still getting pulled down. See what the diode mode is for that. Hey Warren, welcome as always. 0.72, that's perfectly reasonable diode mode. Wait, hang on. SMC bat low should be low though, because it is... what do you call it? There's no battery, so of course it's going to be low. But I don't quite understand why it's stopping the sus enable. Hey Toby, good evening. Easy 130. It's like the standard failure point of all the modern ones. Okay, we've got an OR gate input. Loopbacks are so much fun. I'm being sarcastic, by the way. And of course what doesn't help is sometimes these schematics are drawn or rendered incorrectly. So it adds to the insult. Well, Stuart, either A or B can be high, but you would need... The problem comes in when the feedback loop is applied. So by default, we've got a natural pull down. So on startup conditions, this will be a 0. And if that's a 0, then we're going to get a 0 out of there. And if we get any zeros on the AND gate, we're going to get a 0. So I'm a little bit perplexed here because that would infer that there is no way to get this to provide a sus enable unless you have both SMC batlow and PM sleep susl. At least initially. If there is a transient thing that pulls up SMC batlow by initially, then that would allow this to latch, because if on startup that's pulled high just out of default before it gets pulled low, then this, as long as this is high as well, then you will end up with a high output which will then latch the output. But it's like we're not getting that first latching. Instead, it's like that pull-up never seems to take effect, unless it actually does, and it's then explicitly pulled down. Maybe we've got a faulty SMC. Wouldn't that be something? Which is going to be hilarious, because I'm not even sure if I have any 3330 SMCs anymore. I do believe there was a recent video where I had to dig around quite extensively to try and find something, and nothing was actually good enough. So yeah, before the SMC even gets to startup, this line should implicitly be well, by default it should be high because of the pull-up. But it would seem that it is then being, but yeah, it seems like it's never getting pulled high along with this becoming high. So maybe our problem is actually the PM sleep sus L is not actually being asserted. So that initially is asserted as high, but this maybe never is, which is why it never gets to the point where it latches. So perhaps we're looking at the wrong thing, and we should actually be looking at this here. Oh. Let's see, where does that come from? Oh, geez, you're coming out of U8100. Well, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the end of the game. That's a PCH failure if that's the case. What a pain in my posterior. And I'll be honest, PCH failure would then imply, or would then explain why this has flux all around it as if it's been reflowed. Yeah. But the question is, was it me or was it somebody else? Because I'm almost absolutely certain I recall doing this. I'm fairly confident that is my doing, that corner crossed job. One thing I should do is just simply check historically to see if I have this board in my job log. Ah, great, I just jumped away from my live stream tracker. Let's see. Search. SSD V33. SSD V33. Brilliant. My search does not show me or search serial numbers. That's no good. That sucks, Paul. You need to add that as a feature. Please stand by. Okay, it looks like I repaired, it is indicated here that I repaired it a couple of years ago for another problem, and I'm fairly sure that's the one that I can see. But I have a feeling it has been worked over since. I'll probably have to mail this person. But I have a strong feeling the PCH has gone walkabout. Which means the person looking around for it was in the right place. Okay, see if I can do this without revealing stuff I'm not supposed to. Alright, so what have we got here? We've got original fault would only run from DC adapter, change battery, fan start, blah blah blah. A whole bunch of stuff. Components were removed, okay, fair enough. Connection results. So all the Ulysses power good attached parts need replacing. Battery is dud. Weird. No real I'm gonna have to actually look back on that one. As in, I'll have to find the video for it. Okay, above. No. Okay. Now, I am going to say that this is a PCH failure on the basis of the fact that it looks like they themselves or somebody has already also headed into the PCH area and ascertained that, you know, it's no chop. So they're in the right area, and no luck. Now, what's got me also confused is the fact that that was definitely a burnt resistor. I bet it was to do with the RAM. So I don't know. I think I'm going to message the person. It's going to be cheaper for them to just get themselves another 3330 board, unfortunately. Yeah. I'm gonna call that as a dead PCH. I'll have to message them and find out if they did try to do the reflow. Like I said, it doesn't really seem like my kind of thing to do a PCH. I mean, I might try it as a testing Hail Mary sort of thing where, you warm up or reflow the PCH, see if it starts working again, and if it does, then you can sort of go, oh, well, PCH is on the way out. Can't call it dead until Nelton. No, normally that's Travis's call nowadays. That's funny, he didn't call it this time. I'm going to pretend I can't see Travis typing feverishly. But yeah, unfortunately, most of the 3330 machines that I have been getting in recently, and by recently I mean the last 6 months, because obviously it's not that recent that I was, I'm still having issues with trying to remember what the hell I'm doing on a 3330. They've all ended up being PCH failures. So it seems to be at the end of the road for the 3330s. Then again, obviously I only see the ones that fail, so maybe there's a lot of them out there that are still working perfectly well. So Travis, you're claiming to be a broken clock? That's usually what the statement is. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. I'm just going to put that aside and I'll email the person. Like I said, you can get replacement 3330 boards comparatively cheap direct from places like AliExpress. So it may be an option worth considering for them. Okay, now I've got to get crap in a cracker. A1990, oh god. I've got to take the panel off this one without showing rather. I can do it without looking, through feel if I want. Hey Patrick. Scrunch that up. Okay, let's get the new data up. Yeah, A1990s, usually the 820 01041 board, I think it is. Or is it the 14? Anyway, I'm pretty sure it's the 1041 board. A few possible causes for this. I'm really hoping it's not the SSD VREG. If it is the SSD VREG, I'm sincerely hoping this hasn't been handled yet. If it hasn't been handled, then we've got maybe a 25% chance of success. Okay, I can already see there's a little bit of rust on one of the inductors by the SSD VREG, so it's probably dead. Probably a wah-wah-wah story. Thank you very much, Dave Jones. So, yes, there's a little bit of rust there that doesn't bode well. Hopefully it is not what I think it is, but we'll see. Okay, first thing you do with these machines other than disconnect the power, which we're doing now. Actually, I'm just pretty sure this is a 1041. Yeah, it's a 1041. Okay. First thing you do on these machines is check the rail resistances around that SSD. Let's see. Actually, we'll go to continuity mode. Crap on a cracker. Okay, on the upside, it's extremely shorted. Like, we're talking half an ohm, and it could actually be that cap there. Alright, so we're going to take the board out. Notice that we have not powered the board up. With these machines and the A2141, do not power them up until you've taken the board out, checked it over, checked for shorts. It may have died. Yes, there's a chance. There is a chance. Now, the second thing is, and I commented on Rossman's video, and that is, if you do have the situation where you've got a shorted 2v5 rail on the SSD, you must replace that regulator. You must replace the TPS 62180. If you do not, then there is a chance that when you power that thing back up, that regulator may actually be faulty from the short. And subsequently, it will not have its brains about it, and it will probably do something like send 12 volts or 13 volts straight through to the SSD. So replace the regulator before you power the board up. If you have a short on the G3 hot side, then you can usually get away with it. Depends on whether the corrosion was nearby or anything. If you think there's collateral damage. But yes, I know, well, I can't know for sure, but there's been a few machines that I've had here where what they do is they knock off the cap that's on the other side of this board, and it takes the short away. But the trouble is that it then lets the broken brain regulator go ahead and wreck the NANDs. Oh, thank you, Patrick. Just saw you posting the $2 there. It's very nice of you. It's a subscription fee. Not that I believe in subscriptions, but anyway, tell that to my Netflix and Disney and Stan. It is interesting to me how we have become entirely accepting, for the most part, that I can tell with the whole streaming TV offerings. Like, we no longer own DVDs or videos or movies or anything like that. It's all, we just whatever's streaming on Netflix, so to speak. But I think, in fairness, we feel like we've been given a suitable compromise. We have a large range of options. It's constantly updated, and we've accepted the exchange, as it were. Especially now that the quality is good enough. We get high definition, 4K, 60 frames per second, that sort of stuff. And I mean, really, for a lot of people, the whole collect DVDs type thing, it sort of suddenly became clear that we don't watch those things multiple times very often, except for the occasional series like watching Scrubs or Faulty Towers or Vicar of Dibley, something like that. But other than that, most of the time the DVDs basically sat on our shelves and rotted, and we would look over it each night and go, what do you want to watch? And like, I don't know. What do you got there? And you look over the movies or the series and you go, nah, don't feel like that. Nah, don't feel like that. So, yeah, the desire to own a copy sort of now has been transcended by the tastier fruit of a broader range that's kept up to date. Jason, that's pretty cheap, $77 a year. How are they doing that? How, when you see a cheap combo deal like that, you do stop and go, no free lunches, so how's that happening? What am I giving up? Okay, we have got some bad damage over here. We've got some bad damage over here. Yeah, this is going to be fun. Oh boy, yeah. So we've got a combination of many issues now. So we're probably not getting 20 volts. What the heck? Alright, that's interesting. We've lost a cap here. Don't know how that happened. That is on the top side. But the strange thing is, it's like there's no connectors near it. Like, you've got this connector here, and that one there's the touch bar. Then, okay, you got this one here, but that's a really difficult... To knock that off would take tremendous unskill. Like, if this is latched down and your cable's coming in here, you would have to come flying in this way at a greatly, very low aspect angle, and then twink, and somehow knock that off in the process. Yeah, that would definitely require tremendous unskill. I'm fairly sure it's that cap. This cap here, that may be shorted. I'll flip it over and have a look at the disaster on the other side. Jim, they do generally bugger off in the winter. Oh, far out. Yeah, this is a cluster. If we're lucky, it hasn't carbonized. Yeah. Often what happens here... Oh, there's our dead cap. That's definitely our dead cap. Yeah, no questions about that one. That one's gone up like a Russian ammo dump. Yeah. Okay. So, and in some ways, they should be very thankful that did what it did. Because if this one got to that sort of point, what happens here is that it starts to burn its way through the circuit board and it just starts carbonizing the fiberglass, and you just can't clear the short and the whole board's lost. So yeah, that's definitely gone bad. Yeah, the right hand side, it's got corrosion starting on it. Basically it needs pretty much a complete revamp. Now hopefully this hasn't started coming up. This is 2V5, this is G3 hot. Okay, so let's get going with that. That has also cracked and shorted, I can see it now. So everything pretty much has had a bad day around here, but that's definitely cracked. This deserves an Oscar for how it went. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is check to see if that short is now cleared. At least then I know if I've got the cap or not. Hey, Carbon Black. Hey, is that Tim Herman? And our short is cleared and we have the correct sort of resistance for 2V5. That'll get up to about 1K by the time. Carbon Black, is that you, Tim? Now check this one. This is G3 hot. Yeah, it's shorter too. Yeah. Now the hardest thing I find, if we do have a successful repair on this, is convincing the person to back up their data and throw the machine away. It's very hard to get people to do that, and I understand it's an expensive piece of gear. Losing their data is going to be more expensive. Because while I can fix it to get the data, these things invariably will just die again. And that has also cleared that short. So both of those rails were short, which is not that common to happen. You'll typically get one fail before the other. To have them both fail, that's pretty good stuff. This is a high quality effort put in by this board. Hey there, Phil. How's it going, Coda? I missed your stream this morning, I'm sorry, buddy. I was busy dealing with tiling in the house. I wasn't doing the tiling, of course, I'm not that talented. But I was just sorting out all the labourers and stuff like that to do the tiling. Yeah. Phil, you shouldn't be envying us because quite frankly, that is what we have to deal with every bloody summer. Well, to be fair, not all of Australia, but certainly up here, like last year we had 2-3 weeks of 40 to 42 every frickin' day. So yeah, nothing to envy. Be thankful. Can you use a Milliamp Meter? You can. Okay, you're not Tim Herman then. You can, but it's a lot more difficult on a board like this. It's just easier to go looking for visually apparent faults. The main reason why it's trickier on these boards is because of all the internal routing. Yeah, the routing is not so easy to follow as, say, a more traditional two-sided type board. Okay, so we've cleared that. I actually might remove that cap as well. Right now we have southerners coming up to this area because during our winter it's quite pleasant. We might get to 3 or 4 in the morning, but during the day we're in the high teens. Definitely most days we're in our mid-20s here. So we tend to catch a lot of what we call grey nomads because they come up from Melbourne, Sydney, and they're all like, wow, this is the greatest winter ever. Look, you can walk around in just a shirt, no freezing our bones or anything like that. So they move up here. They buy a house, they move up here, and then summer strikes them down and they die. So yeah, this is kind of like a bit of a death zone. I mean, in fairness, I would be kind of the same. Like, if you're a person that lives up here in the north all your life, and you go down south for summer, and you're like, this is a piece of cake. No worries. Although it's not actually down to Sydney anymore. Sydney, Melbourne area, bloody hot down there during their summer, and they burn to death because of like the Blue Mountains and just everything. They actually catch on fire more down there than we do up here. Okay, so I'll get another TPS 62180. I'm going to find out where the hell my order of my other ones is. I bought a bunch of them and they have not turned up, and I'm starting to get concerned because I'm down to about my last 10 or so. I've got a decent size order through official channels like Element 14 and DigiKey, but as a fail-safe I've also bought some off AliExpress, but even the AliExpress ones haven't turned up, so I'm starting to panic a little bit. $37. Yeah, I gotta admit, the trouble with where you are is that, as who was it? Someone before just said, you're not really provisioned for hot weather. So this is our replacement TPS 62180. These are vital chips on most of these new machines. It's not just for the SSDs, VREGs that they use, and they also use them for 3v3 generation. You'll find them everywhere. Going slightly slow here because we do have a NAND chip there. Plus I don't want to blow this damn thing off the board. Getting close. Yeah, Miles, I got my last batch from Element 14 and that was last year. And as you yourself have witnessed, there aren't any more. That's tolerable. Ow, it's hot. I am not going to bother to replace these caps right now. They can, there's like 20 of these and there's a few of these. It can live without them for now. The big challenge we've now got to face is cleaning up this side. So this is our CD3215 input stage. That's our, pretty sure that's our MOSFET that will switch the power like 20 volts, let it through. And we've got a lot of gnarly corrosion I'll see what I can clean up with some 80/20. Yeah, Jason, I'll come back to those missing caps. Like I said, they're not super essential. It will work fine without them for now. I'm really hoping those nails are not already damaged. Hey there, House of Moth. To be honest, with regards to the heat and stuff, most of us up here, we just spend all day inside. So that's why when people complain, it's like, oh, I have to spend all day inside during winter, it's like, well, during your winter, we're pretty much doing the same over here. We're just staying inside all day during the daylight hours at least. We will venture outside after, typically around about 7 o'clock at night if we're game. It generally doesn't bring a lot of relief. It's more just like, well, I'll go outside and swim around in slightly less terrible heat. But like I said, fortunately we do have air conditioners, so... But that costs you a fortune to run, believe me. Hey there, Greg. I was talking about the first cat you saw knocked off. Oh, that one. Right, okay. Yeah, that I'm fairly sure is just a general purpose decoupling cap, but thank you, I will go double check that. These are a bit gnarly, but they're not entirely terrible. I don't think this person spilled anything. Given that it's attacked both sides, I'm just going to say it's whatever their working environment is or wherever they use this, that's the problem. Do it. I think everybody up here should have solar panels on their roof, because it's the best. Yeah, solar panels are a perfect match for hot climates like this if you're going to have air conditioning, because you need it most. The stronger the sun is, the more you need that power, and the more the solar panels are going to generate. And as a bonus, the solar panels will give you a bit of air gap shade cooling on your roof. Hey there, Prater. Jason, that was a bit of a rough start for that chap, coming out from the UK. Should have done it in winter. It's a bit like we have that horrible mismatch with cricket too. Now in England, cricket is a summer sport. Here in Australia, it'd be better off as a winter sport. A bit like trying to play cricket in Bombay in summer. It's just like, it doesn't make a lot of sense. For England, sure. For places like India and Australia, no. True, Jason, yes. Solar panels on your floor are probably not much chop if they're not getting any illumination. Well, what you do is you just turn the lights on really bright. All of those caps there, they're not actually critical, they're just high frequency noise reduction type things. So Phil, when are you going to do something like what my mate Vince is doing and find a motorbike or a car to repair? Oof, that corrosion stuff is everywhere. Yeah, Phil, I can actually concur with you there with regards to grease and oil and petrol on the hands. I mean, I used to always fix up my own cars and motorbikes, but it was never something that I really enjoyed as such. It was more a case of I'm doing it because it's saving me money, particularly when you're a scummy little university student, and especially so when you're in the engineering faculty. Even if you're not actually doing mechanical engineering, just the fact that you're an engineer means you need to be able to do that stuff. Otherwise, you will be shamed. Alright, we need another one of those MOSFETs. Let's see if I just got a donor that I can do a direct copy over with. I know I have... oh yeah, I've got 1041 here. Haha! And I haven't stolen this one. Soap and water is okay until... the trouble is, if it's already gotten into your skin, it's kind of pointless. So yeah, I'm wearing nitrile gloves. I know some people can't handle wearing gloves. I get it. I understand. And I'll be sure to make mention of that in your eulogy. Hey Gabriel. Yeah, it's the nature of it. Like, no one will expect a mechanical engineer or a civil engineer to do electronics. But if you're an electronics engineer, well, you're an engineer, so you should be able to do those things, right? Okay, those two bastards are going to have to come on their own. It doesn't really matter, to be honest, which order they're in, because they're all on the same bus. I mean, to be fair, the first couple of years of your engineering course, usually you will be doing a lot of you will be doing things like mechanical and whatever engineering principles, just as a baseline for your course. Typically, like first and second year, there's very little difference between your faculties. I mean, 90% of the time you're drunk anyway. Or partying. Or at the counsellor trying to tell them that you need... shit, I just flipped. God damn it, Paul. When will you learn, my good man? When will you learn? You know what, they can just stay together. No, they can't stay together. You can't do that to yourself. Oh God, it's a catastrophe. The humanity. Crocodile 2006, you got a leader laptop you have to fix. For some reason SATA is broken, like really broken. CD drive, hard drive, SATA, but it's probably PCH. Being a leader laptop, I'm sorry, this is going to offend maybe some people, but I'm not one to touch that sort of thing anymore. They're pretty much right there with Clevo, in my opinion. In fact, they probably are Clevo. Depends on the model. Yeah, it might have a dedicated chipset for the SSD, but more than likely, if they're all dead, probably not. Probably the PCH, probably the CPU. Or it might be just something holding down one of the communication lines. Honestly, when I do that sort of thing, I feel like Gunther from Futurama, the monkey with the special hat, contemplating suicide, but then he goes, on the other hand, and then falls to his almost death. My God, what is wrong with you, Caps? Have you no grace? Oh, I don't know if that CD3215 is stuffed up or not. That there gives me pause for thought, but I don't think it's going to come into play. We'll just stick some flux there, give it a bit of a boil, give it a chance to clean up some dregs. I sincerely hope we get this one working for two reasons. It'd be nice for the person to have their data back, and secondly because I want the money. I'm not gonna lie, I do this for the money. There are other things I'd much rather do, but I do this sort of work for the money. I'm not gonna try and blow smoke up your ass and say I do it because I love it. That's a gnarly looking resistor, that one. It's just junk. I think it might be just crusty whatever it was that ran over this. Well, Stuart, for some things in my life it's not about the money, but when it comes to this sort of work, it's about the money. I mean, there's certain thrill in solving some issues. There's certain thrill in telling people that their data is restored, but if there isn't enough monetary pushback for me, then well, I'll probably try to find something else to do in life. I mean, I've always done electronics, but it's never been passionate, so to speak. It's never been something that I get up out of the bed each morning and go, oh boy, I can't wait to experiment with some electronics and do this or try that. If I am doing experimenting with, doing development work with electronics, it is because I'm trying to make a tool or something like that, like with the Usbc current meter. I'd sooner program for entertainment than I would do electronics. For me, model aircraft is more where I would be. Not had a vacation in 15. Yeah, that's pretty much my life. I got back. The last vacation I pretty much had was twofold, in the sense of when I got told to leave South Africa. That was one. Although I did pretty much land here, bought a computer, and went straight back to work because I was in the middle of a big software project. And the second one, of course, was when I had my honeymoon, which, funnily enough, we actually deferred. We got to the airport and we were about to go on our honeymoon, and then we changed our mind right at the check-in desk. I said, you know what, we're a bit tired, we'll delay this. And there was another reason behind it, and that is, at the time, one of the major airlines in Australia, which was Ansett at the time, it had just collapsed. So there was a lot of people who had no way of getting home. And so we just said, you know what, we won't bother doing our honeymoon until later, and someone can get a ride home with the tickets that we had. And we had quite a few tickets because the fact that we had to get down to, from up here down to Tasmania and then back up, obviously. So we probably helped a half a dozen people. Is it okay to ask why you asked to leave South Africa? Did you do something naughty? Gee, here we go. You know, if I got to put the buts in it, it's probably not a good thing. Basically, they denied my visa because, in part, I had already been there 4 and a bit years, and they were probably thinking, you know what, this guy's just milking the system. And it turns out later that the reason why they took a really long time is because one of my co-workers had lodged a report that I was being a public nuisance or something like that. And so, because he didn't like me. He didn't like me because I pretty much blew in from Australia, a complete unknown, and took his job, really. He was gunning for the job that I took, and it didn't go down well with him. We were, for the 4 and a bit years, we were forever competing with each other. I didn't realise it, but yeah, so anyway. So he saw his chance to get rid of me, and anyway, it all worked out. Blood diamond, no, I'm no DiCaprio. Alright, so here we go. What I'm going to do though, because I'm paranoid as truck, I'm just going to double check the continuity on point 3. That's not right. Okay, that's weird. I haven't even powered up, and we actually have a problem. That, all I can imagine is maybe I shorted the, maybe I installed the chip wrong. That's definitely shorted. That's shorted as heck. That wasn't shorted before, so I'm going to guess that I didn't put that down properly. Something went wrong when I did that. And that's obviously going to be shorted because that, yeah. Because that should not be shorted. It does look crooked. Yeah, marginally. Guess we'll find out. Mind you, to get that much... Yeah, anyway, whatever. Nothing looks bridged there, but yeah, you never know. This is why you should always check. Yeah, it was definitely the chip. Yep, that wasn't on properly. Saved by my paranoia. Yeah, I better clear off that old solder first. Reflow and nudge may have sufficed, but it probably... I would have been too paranoid. I figure if it hasn't gone down properly to the point where it has bridged across a couple, it's probably not a good idea to nudge it back. It's not like it's an SMC where you can, yeah, if things go wrong, it's like, oh well, no problem, we'll just get another main board. We've got people's actual data on this one that can't be extracted without having a working board, let alone working NAND. Well, yeah, I mean, it did have a slight bit of crookedness to it, but it certainly wasn't that bad that I thought it was worthy of... Yeah, sometimes they just do sit a bit funny. Yeah, see, that's sitting just ever so slightly crooked too. It's not much, but it is there. Jason's been burned too many times by the pain of better to be thought a fool than open your mouth and be proven one. I can relate. Squeaky. What's interesting is I could have sworn when I put that on there, did I measure it to check and it was okay? Yeah. Yeah, something's going on. You know what it is. I know what it is. Do you know what it is? I'm going to give you 30 seconds to work out what's wrong, because I know what it is. Yeah. Dun, dun, dun. This is countdown time, and the answer is not Tanettenba. Good morning. That's a lovely Tanettenba. Yeah, alright. You bastards are cheated. Basically, what the problem was is that this here is the correct section, and indeed pin 1 is up here. What had happened is that I was looking over here, where the pin 1 down now the reason what triggered me to realizing I was wrong is the fact that we've got these two chunky caps here, and there's most certainly not two chunky caps there. No, sirree. We've got 6 mixed and 4 biggies, so that's when I realized I had done wrong. So yeah, very, 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 very good that we checked. And pretty much reinforces my belief that I should not ever do jobs like this on YouTube. Good God, you imagine if I had done this on, say, like I used to before, do a guest stream on Lewis's channel. At least Sweet Mercy was just knocking an SMC off with some parts. This would have been, well, I just simply would have had to have left the industry. No, Catherine, the chip would be fine, thankfully. Especially since we didn't power anything up, because we were paranoid enough to check before we did that. So what I'll have to do is I'll just have to reball those other chips, because, like I said, they haven't been powered up, so they're all perfectly good. That's quite possible, Jim. Just unfortunate, it probably would have cost me so much in other ways. For one, I likely would have lost a client, and this is a business, a regular big business client. So that would have been most painful. Go to. I wouldn't want to bring your views down, mate. That's my way of throwing myself under a bus to avoid the commitment. Yeah, I thought it was a bit weird because, even if that chip was slightly askew, it wasn't enough to have bridged bridged across the two areas. Okay, now I don't have enough flux under that, and I know it. Okay, there we go. Put all the chips on backwards and the computer will run in reverse. Time itself will turn backwards. Hello there, Eric. Been a while. The problem is you're only really live streaming, live streamers don't grow. I agree, they don't. I completely agree. I was saying that to my wife the other night. Saying, I've been at this for a good number of years now, and the growth rate is pretty much plateaued, which sort of is understandable. And I said simply because I don't do edited videos, and I've mentioned that in many of the previous live streams. It's I just don't have the time and energy to do edited videos, even if they would bring me greater audience or anything like that. Ask one of the viewers to edit your streams into short videos. I have an issue with asking people to do things for me like that. It's sort of like the Patreon thing. I always feel like it's a shackle. It means I'm going to have to be nice to people or something. Need a picture of blue. That's much better. No beepies. Yep, no beeps there. Thank goodness for that. And just check on this side too. And yep, definitely works. Okay. So we may at this stage still only get 5 volts because we don't know what damage has occurred to the CD3215s on the other side. But we'll see. I certainly wouldn't be wearing a mankini, I'm sorry. Yeah, the coder, having people offer to do that sort of stuff for free, it's very heartwarming. It's nice to know that people are like wanting to offer that sort of thing, but unfortunately the reality tends to unravel a little bit quickly on that stuff. Alright, so here we go. Fingers crossed, shall we? And what have we got? 5. Looks like we're not going to get to 20 volts. Yeah. Oh, there we go, 20 volts. 100, 200, 200, 300. Okay, that's booting. That is booting, so it does see the SSD. And so we're going to stick this into a chassis, and hopefully we get a MacBook boot logo. Travis, with cheerleaders like you around, how can I not but doubt myself? Miles, thanks for reminding me of that. I know Jason reminded me too. I am 99% sure schematics. So it'll be on CPU side. It's over here. Yeah, here we go. It's this one here, C3505. Yeah, it's just a general purpose decoupler. I mean, look, it's 2.2 surrounded by some 150s. It's another 2.2, and yeah, it's not in any way critical. So we'll see how we go. Hey, Yuri. Hello there, Circuit Monkey. I took my glasses off. I need them back on. At least these boards are not as painful to get back in as the dreaded 1700 boards, which of course is the A2141. By the way, anybody got a cheap A, what is it, 2244, A2442? The MacBook M1 Pro, the one that has the MagSafe ports and stuff like that. I need to get my hands on one of the logic boards. It can be a iCloud one, because I need to start doing diode mode work on it and check component values and all that sort of stuff. Actually, to be honest, I'm also after some 802.2016s, which of course is the Mac M1 Air, because it's got a couple of parts on it that you just can't get anywhere else. Not even the 8200-2020 has some of the parts that you need. And it's extremely frustrating. And of course, Mouser and DigiKey have no idea about the existence of those parts. It's almost like it's alien tech to them or something. Like, well, no one's got any inductors with that sort of power rating that small. Right. So I've got a slight case of the shakes here, as you can imagine. I feel like I had a little bit of a brush with death there. Almost powering that sucker up without testing those resistances. That would have been catastrophically bad. And I'm sort of concurrently living in that universe choice, as well as the one I am now, where I didn't do it. Oh wow, someone punched a hole through there. That's fantastic. Gotta love that. It wasn't even me. I know how that one happened. Someone opened it up before and this spudger dived in too far on it. Okay. By the way, you can see my new Usbc meter. We've got a bong, we're alive. You can see the current and voltage graph on it. Yeah, we've got an Apple logo and she's booting. Don't know why I decided it's a female. That's sexist. Yes, it's the adrenaline rush. And we've got 100% battery. Yep. This machine is alive and well, thank goodness. But yeah, if you look up here, you can see the current thing. What I'll do is I'll actually restart that in a larger scale so you can see it more. Yeah, so you got the current here. It's going through some fluctuations. It doesn't need to charge at the moment because it already is sitting at 100%. You got your voltage up here, that's sitting at 20 volts. So it's a handy thing to have because it gives you around about 30 seconds or so. Well, actually, in this case, it'll be a little bit more of what's been going on. Warren, you're out of here now. Okay. Thank you for being here, Warren. I know you don't say a huge amount, but it's always good to see you around. Anyway, so we'll shut this thing down. trackpad not working? Yeah, it is. I just couldn't see it. But yeah. We should see the graph take a dip. Yep, there it goes. And even the voltage has taken a dip now. So it's 5 volts there, 20 volts up here. Very handy to have it. Are the artifacts in the volcanic direction deliberate or accidental? What do you mean by the artifacts? There's a lot of what looks like dithering of the data, but that's probably because it has a pretty high sample rate and the current... See, what happens is when the battery is charged, a lot of the time it just runs straight off that. So as the various processing changes, then that current jumps around a lot. Oh, I answered already? Oh, well, fair enough. Okay, so now, one thing I did find is that I can actually use this for my iPhones as well, which was kind of handy. The only thing is, you know what, I'm just going to get this out of here because this is a saved data situation and I don't want to risk anything because of my stupidity. Alright. The only thing I've found is if I want to charge the iPhones, I can't actually run it from an Apple power brick. I've got to run it from, this is actually Jim Hook's, something he sent me a while ago. Now, where are you? Where's the power cable I was using? Ah, there's one of them. We've got 2 power cables to use. So you can now get USB-C to Lightning port. So plug that into the output. And don't use. No, maybe I'll just use that same cable. Oh well. We should get, there we go. Let's see, my phone's at 32%, so cool. So we can just plug in my iPhone 7 Plus. Boonk, there it goes. And you can see that, yeah, it's picked up already. Time to edit video. Okay, Coda, you take care. Thanks for dropping in, I always appreciate that. Nice to have your banter appear in here. Nice to swap places every now and then, you know. You be the chatting person and I be the victim on the screen. But yeah, so anyway, so it means basically my USB-C meter is going to be good for diagnosing iPhones, it's going to be good for well, basically anything. Since now you can get USB-C to what do you call it, USB mini to whatever. The only thing I have found is, yeah, you've got to use a non-negotiating or at least one that will put out voltage by default, like it has a default fallback. Because if I plug this into an Apple MacBook brick, it will not power up. It needs to negotiate. It may change on the board that I may only get done, which incorporates everything in here, because I'll be adding the USB-C, the basic USB communication lines, just one pair, and so that maybe will let the phone talk to the charger. I mean, it should be already because I do have the CC1 and CC2 lines on this, but who knows? We'll find out. What's the line through the on-screen display for the meter? The white one is the current, the red one is the voltage. So like if I disconnect this, yeah, they both drop. You see the voltage and current drop to 0. Odd question, but is it normal when charging a complete display A932 for it to require a charging brick to be connected for power on again? Oh, you mean the fact that they won't bootstrap themselves from a battery? You have to initially kick it with an external power. Yes, I've noticed that myself, that if you reassemble machine, the first time you put it back together, you have to fire it up using the USB-C port. it won't come up with just the battery alone. I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's just me, but I have found that on numerous occasions. Why is the red line not green? Mainly, I don't want the same colors as the text, because as it goes through the text, you won't be able to see it. At least being white and red, you can see it when it overlays the text. I also didn't use blue, because blue, if you throw blue in there, it's too hard to see. Whereas red, white, green, and yellow, they can sort of coexist on the same display fairly well. Hey there, Jan Zimmy. Yeah, so it's good to see that doing its job. I kind of wonder if I plug I've got another MacBook here that, yeah. So I can see myself using a couple of these DVD-ackers, I'm going to call them, in the workshop, at least two of them anyway. Okay, let's see if this one will do. Oh, that's cold. I always thought that little tactile switch was actually just to disconnect the internal circuitry as opposed to bootstrap it, but you know, I don't know, I've never tried it as on the bootstrap side. Let's see, does that come up? That's weird, that comes up 14 volts. I don't think this can put out the 20 volts. So it's negotiating up to 14 and that's it. I gotta sneeze. Weird. Yeah, that is different. I'll have to check that power brick and see if it actually does say 15 volt limited. So I've just plugged into the proper MacBook brick. Yeah, so that's just boring stuff about what I'm doing. Let's see. Glasses. Yeah, 15 volt. Oh no, it's got 20 volts, 1.5 amp. I think the problem might be that this will be demanding 3 amps at 20 volts and this can't deliver it. So it just falls back to 15 at 2 amps. Still, I thought it would at least try to get to 20 volts, but who knows. It could also be that Apple has its own unique negotiation that this did not recognize. Either way, it was interesting to see. So still a very useful power brick. I use it a lot. Alright then, well, that's it for tonight. Thanks all for being here, and thank you for not letting me make a complete and utter disaster of that other computer, because that would have been very sad. The other choice universe version of me is now crying and everyone is laughing, so thank goodness I'm not that one. I'm out of here. You all take care. Good luck for your own repairs. I'll catch you next time.